Hello, happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. I'm Susanne Taia of Empowered Lifestyle, and I'm so happy to be here with Taia Faust.
Hi, everybody.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, just had to adjust a little bit to make sure that you're in the
Right.
the camera.
Right. All the little technology details, right?
Yeah.
And you are the founder of the Austin Bracelet Company.
Yes, I am. That's what I do. Is I have gemstone diffuser bracelets, and I help support people with their emotional health and wellness through the use of the essential oils in the bracelets.
Mm-hmm. And as someone pointed out recently, it's like getting passive support all day long with your bracelet. Your wrist is always right at your keyboard or right on your desk or right at the steering wheel of the car. And when you have that aroma coming from your bracelet on your wrist, you're getting a passive, soothing benefit all day long.
Yeah. Yep. I love what I do, and working with the oils is just magical. So happy to have you here. I'm going to have you take one step back so that you're more in the camera view. It wasn't showing me a good, there we go.
Is that better?
It wasn't showing me a good preview on when we were getting set up. So here we are. And today we're talking about
inflammation.
Inflammation, yes.
Yeah.
Inflammation, which all of us experience.
We all have inflammation, and there are things that cause it. There is acute inflammation, there's chronic inflammation, and so we're going to talk about some easy ways to reduce inflammation today, right?
Yes, yep, and you have the power to reduce inflammation in your body, so we want to encourage you in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts with the awareness that we can help ourselves, and So we'll go on to talk about acute and chronic inflammation, but let's talk about inflammation overall and things that really help inflammation, to reduce inflammation in our body. So over the weekend, my daughter in Austin, Tracy, she said, "Mom, you have to watch this movie. It's about grounding." And I'm like, "About grounding?" And so there's a movie. It's called The Grounding Movie or Earthing. And I had trouble finding it. She had to send me the link. If you can't find it because it was a movie from 1980, that's not the one. But it's all about connecting with the vibration of the earth. And this kind of just may sound silly or way too simple, but if you think about it, we're really disconnected from the earth the majority of the time. We're on asphalt in our homes and even our shoes. In 1960, synthetic soles were developed for the bottoms of our shoes, our sneakers, and that is a barrier to connection with the vibration of the earth. And so being able to connect with the earth, like barefoot actually on the earth, reduces inflammation in the body. And there was one indication that it even helped lower blood pressure. It soothed fussy babies, babies that weren't feeling well. It was just absolutely fascinating to me. And so the last 2 days, I've gone outside in the backyard with Oliver, my guide dog, and we have either stood or sat in the grass. And just because, why not? If that might help my body and my health just a little bit, it's free and it's a pretty easy thing to do. And I just found it all so interesting. So if you're curious and interested and you can't find the link to that movie, just reach out to me. I'll send over the link. And it seemed to be a very real thing. So they also sell blankets for grounding and different strategies that you can use, in your home. But just the simple act of touching your feet on the ground. And I thought, don't you always feel so amazing after a day at the beach?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And I thought, that's one of the only times that I really get my feet on the earth, in the sand, and for several hours am really very connected with the earth. So this, if this sounds a little woo-woo, just think about how good you feel after a day at the beach or out in nature, and maybe there's some merit to it, and it's certainly fun enough and easy enough to try.
So I just have to share that I was out on Saturday, and I usually will have my, sneakers on when I'm out working in the yard, and I went out barefoot for a while, and I was amazed at how good it felt. I mean, I'm always afraid that I'm going to step on like a twig or, a pricker or something that's going to hurt my foot, but it actually made a huge difference. And I probably spent about 20 minutes out just, talking with Eric in the backyard barefoot, and I felt great. So this morning, I wanted to ground first thing in the morning. They say, that getting up first thing in the morning and checking your phone and being on the computer right away is like the worst thing that we can do for our health. So I'm like trying to be really intentional about getting my cup of coffee, which I love to have in the morning, and then heading outdoors. And so this morning, for those of you that are in Connecticut, you know that it was pretty cold out this morning. I think it got down into the 30s last night.
Yeah.
So I went outside with my slippers and kicked it off and went into the grass, and it was cold, but I still did it this morning just to help myself get started on the right foot, no pun intended.
Yeah. Yes. And getting some sunlight on your face early in the morning is supposed to be absolutely one of the most wonderful things we can do for ourselves. It infuses us with some vitamin D, and it helps to set our circadian rhythms, which are connected to the Earth's vibration. And that's just the way we're created. And we live in a very high-tech world, and we don't think about that stuff very much, but we are just as natural biological beings as our ancient ancestors, and our DNA is still the same. So it's a fun idea, and this is the perfect time of year to try going in your yard barefoot. And please don't step. Acute inflammation is something that we're usually very, very aware of, and it's usually an injury. It's a swollen knee, it's a swollen ankle, it's a sore shoulder, it's a headache. It's usually a very obvious thing. It's very often from an injury, something that has caused that acute inflammation, and that we can actually see it. And essential oils are one of the most wonderful supports for that. Ice is good. Soaking in a bath of Epsom salts is good. And Epsom salts and essential oils is marvelous. And so treating acute inflammation is something that we know we need to do, because it's really, really obvious. The deep blue polyphenol complex is my go-to instead of over-the-counter support when I do have an injury. The polyphenols in this are so not only reducing to acute inflammation, but systemic inflammation. They really help you feel your best. And then the turmeric capsules, which are
I don't have those here, but I have them in my lined up with my vitamins at home.
Yes, and they're a wonderful turmeric supplement, because they have the curcumin and the turmeric all in one capsule, the essential oil and the botanical all in one capsule. And turmeric is probably the most well-studied botanical of all for treating inflammatory pathways in the body and for reducing discomfort, right? So on to systemic inflammation, which most of us have to some degree, but it's hard to see. In addition to the grounding, if that appeals to you, a really good night's sleep is essential to reducing inflammation.
Yes.
And that is one of the number one things that people speak to us about, is not being able to get a good night's sleep. So if you can get in your 7 to 9 hours of sleep, it makes a huge difference in reducing inflammation in your body, in helping your memory, because that's when our body lays down memory tracks. And it is a time when our body detoxes and dumps out the toxins that we have encountered through the day. So we're not going to go into a deep dive with sleep today, But just knowing that getting enough sleep is so essential to reducing inflammation in your body and to feeling better. And then drinking plenty of water. You're
Yes.
really good at consuming water.
Oh, I have to make it easy for myself. I just like any other habit, if it's not easy, then I'm not doing it. So I found these great 24-ounce stainless steel drink containers. This one's from Starbucks, but it has a straw, and straws make it easier to drink out of. You're just going to drink more when you're sipping it like this than if you have to pour it out of a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And so I fill this up at least 3 times a day, and then I have, other glasses of water around the house. So I've had to do that in order to make it easy for myself to stay hydrated. Otherwise, I forget.
Yes.
And then they say if you are to the point where you're thirsty, then you're really dehydrated.
Yes.
Like we should never actually be thirsty.
Yes. Yep. And if I find myself not needing to run to the bathroom for hours and hours, I know I'm dehydrated.
Yeah.
And that happens to me far more often than I care to admit, because I really do try and be very conscious of doing as much as I can to help myself. And hydration is so essential, and it just keeps the lymphatic system flowing. And that is key to supporting, reducing systemic inflammation. And we can have inflammation in our cardiovascular system, in our brain, throughout the tissues of our body, the systems of our body, and that is just never a good thing. So making a conscious effort to reduce inflammation is so key. And then, as we've talked about before, our nutrient pack, the Lifelong Vitality, is designed to reduce inflammation. That's one of the things it is designed to do. And I find I feel a lot better when I'm supporting myself in that way with the full nutrient pack. I do take the deep blue polyphenol every day. I do take the turmeric every day, because having a very active life and an active body and, working out and running, it just seems to make me able to do all of that a lot better.
Yeah.
How about you? You work out a lot.
Yeah, the turmeric and the polyphenol are my go-to, along with the Lifelong Vitality. It just all helps that muscle pain and everything is that acute inflammation. So not all inflammation is bad, but when it turns into a chronic inflammation, then we really need to focus on, what's causing that. So.
Yeah. Any other tips about inflammation, or should we talk about the oils that really help reduce inflammation?
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was where my mind was going, is the oils that I use to help.
Yeah. So what's your favorite?
Well, my favorite is the deep blue and frankincense.
Mm-hmm.
So I will, I often use the deep blue rub or the stick just for convenience. And then I will add in a drop or two of frankincense just right in the palm of my hand and massage that onto, it's often my legs that I'm using. I get a lot of soreness in my legs, especially for squatting or doing something very leg intensive.
Yeah. And frankincense is a number one go-to for just anything. If you have no idea what to do for a thing that comes up in your life, frankincense is always a safe go-to. And we were recently with someone who has a very degenerative condition that causes a lot of trembling in the hands, to the point where they can't hold a glass or feed themselves. It's so severe. And the putting a drop of frankincense on the tongue and pressing it against the roof of the mouth helps to relieve the severity of that trembling. And she shared that with us, and that just meant so much to me, that there was a way to give someone with a very advanced condition just a little bit of relief, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so frankincense, when you put it on the roof of your mouth, or put it on your tongue and press it on the roof of your mouth, it actually can permeate the blood-brain barrier and helps to reduce inflammation in the brain, which we have and we get. And when we're having brain fog, that's very often the cause. And, just by the toxins we accumulate in daily living, sometimes the things that we eat, it can promote a lot of inflammation. And what's another oil that you like to use for even systemic inflammation? Do you have a favorite?
Well, besides frankincense, I can't think of anything. Copaiba.
Yeah.
Copaiba is my other favorite oil in this combination of just, especially when I think of like my nervous system.
Yeah.
So we can have inflammation in our nervous system too, and copaiba is very soothing for that.
It is. It is. A lot of neurological support in copaiba. And the DDR prime is another one that comes to the top of my head. DDR stands for DNA damage repair, and it's a restorative cellular formula. And if you've ever wondered why essential oils are so supportive to the human body, it's because the plant life and the cell life of the body mirror one another. They're, the same essential molecules in nature. What is it? Hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, those essential components of all forms of life. And so the body recognizes an essential oil, and then depending on what you're trying to support, the plants have different chemistries. So the oils have a different chemistry, and you can target an oil that is super supportive to the thing that you need help with. And I hope that just helps the understanding a little bit of why we love our oils so much and find them a better alternative to many of the over-the-counter products. We were looking at our Essential Life book earlier. Is there anything in there that you wanted to share?
Well, yeah, so the Essential Life book, this is a pretty hefty and extensive book, but it has a lot of really good information in it. And so there's a whole section here about pain and inflammation. Very, very good content. Even reading it through this time, I learned a few things that I didn't realize before. Again, we've already talked about acute and chronic inflammation, but it talks about even how cortisol is involved in this process of inflammation. So if this is something that you want to learn more about, I'm not going to read this whole page from the book right now, but if you are struggling with inflammation and want to learn more, that's what we're here for, is to talk to you about it.
Yep, absolutely. And so just a couple of things in wrapping up. We, as a team, are pulling together to host a wonderful event where one of doTERRA's doctors is going to come and speak to us. It will be in Berlin, Connecticut at the Hawthorne Inn Hotel, whatever it is. It's a venue large enough to host a good number of people. And this is, we are putting Connecticut on the map because we are passionate about wellness here as much as anywhere else, and not wanting we're I guess you could say we're competing with like the bigger cities like New York and Boston. So we're very excited and proud to be bringing one of doTERRA's doctors here. He is on the medical education board, and I promise you'll find it a worthwhile couple of hours. It's from 10 to 1 on Saturday, June 3rd. So it really leaves you with most of your day free. And we hope you will join us. So many of you have received the link for registration. Those of you who have not, we would love to share it with you and help you get registered. You'll get free oils, and I just promise it will be a very rewarding time, and hope you'll join us. And did you want to mention about our giveaway, that awesome a drink bottle?
Yes, so we have a doTERRA drink bottle. This is a great glass bottle. You know that we're big advocates of glass and stainless steel bottles, not plastic. But it does have the rubber base on it, and it's a shaker bottle with a big mouth to open there to put in your protein and greens and things like that, and then a smaller bottle to a smaller opening to drink out of. So we're doing a giveaway at the end of the month. If you are placing an order of 100 PV or more, your name is entered to win. You can comment down below in this video if you've already placed your order, or there's still time to get your order in if you're interested in being your healthiest version of you with the doTERRA products that we love and love to recommend. We're happy to help you get started.
Absolutely, and I'm really enjoying this bottle. It's the perfect bottle, which I didn't have before. There was something I didn't like about all of my bottles, and this colors seems like a lot. That everything I use in my home is doTERRA. Things that I would have bought somewhere else, maybe shampoo at the hair salon or things that I would have picked up at Target. They're all from doTERRA, and they're pure, they're safe, they're natural, and I enjoy all of them, all my laundry products and my home cleaning products. So you're spending far more than that at your run to Target or the grocery store for household supplies and support. And that's all just beside your essential oils. My guide dog Ollie is at the groomer, and I brought doTERRA shampoo for the groomer to use on him. And you know, that's really what we use. So it's replacing the things that you're purchasing and use in practical life anyway to doTERRA. And then there's lots of rewards for your consistent enjoyment of the doTERRA for your home and your family. So anything else?
No, that's all from me. I hope you all have a really good week, and remember to do the things every day that keep you feeling your best.
Absolutely. We love you. We appreciate you. Send us an emoji, a like, hello, and please reach out with questions anytime. That's what we love to help with.
Thanks, everybody.